Hi, this is Adam Homey, the co-founder of LiveWebsiteReviews.com. In this video module, we're going to review the anatomy of a customer e-newsletter, or Ezine. Many people ask us what we feel is the easiest way to put together the files and the structure of your customer Ezine so that you can easily broadcast it and make it available to your audience. And in this module, we're going to show you some real-world examples using some of our most successful internet marketing clients who regularly publish ezines, how they manage their files and how they organize things so that getting their ezine out to their lists is not only easy, but actually fun. The first example is People-Centered Marketing, which is an ezine that is published weekly by Jim Palmer, the newsletter guru. And through the examples we're going to show you, there are several things that they all have in common. First of all, Jim always puts the date that his ezine was published. In this case, the edition was April 28, 2009, and it's volume 3 because it's the third year he's been publishing the ezine, and it's issue 12 because it's the 12th issue that he's published this year. He has a table of contents. He has a note from the guru, which is a personal note from Jim to his audience, where he tells you what he's been up to, what conferences he's attended, where he's been a public speaker, and you'll frequently see pictures of him and people he knows and things that he's been doing. Sometimes he puts photos of himself kayaking or with his family. But the idea is it's how he personally lets his audience know what's going on and sort of keeps in touch and keeps everybody up to speed, and also lets people know about his upcoming launches and other things that are going on with his business as well that may benefit them. Then he has a feature article, which is typically an article that he himself wrote, which will also be featured on his blog at thenewsletterguru.com. And then his bio box, it'll go with all his articles. There's usually a success tip, which is an article written by another leading internet marketer, in this issue Alexandria K. Brown, known as the Ezine Queen. Then he'll have his bio, links so you can follow him on Facebook and Twitter. Then he has recommended resources. He'll put a different resource in each time, and then he has some of his own programs such as Success Advantage 2.0, the Concierge Service, and Super Affiliates, which is a product that Jim and I co-created. The next example is Financial Perspectives, which is a biweekly ezine published by Marty Higgins of Family Wealth Management. And he has a table of contents. He has this little sticky note here. If you click on it, it goes to the Family Wealth Management website. He'll usually put a quote by a famous person that's meant to be inspirational. And again, the personal note from Marty. He'll have an article called Keeping Current, which is written either by him or by a guest author. There'll usually be some sort of teleseminar or event. In this case, he's promoting his upcoming teleseminar. Then in his, he does typically 2 or 3 feature articles by other guest experts in his industry, and he will make those available. He'll make those available on his blog on the Family Wealth Management website, and there'll be excerpts from the articles followed by links to read more. Then there's other things like the Rate Your Knowledge. Then you'll have his biography. He'll give you some recommendations. He'll tell you what's some of the recent things that have been going on with his business and his life. Under Where's Marty, he likes to share pictures and share anecdotes. He includes a crossword puzzle because a lot of his audience likes that. And then he has what he calls a health tip. And the final example we're going to show you is the PR Takeoff Jet Set ezine created by Stacy and Regina at prtakeoff.com. This ezine is done weekly, and it has a personal message from the flight deck, takeoff tips, and then jet set picks, which is something that's kind of flexible so they can have it be something different each time because they want that flexibility. In this case, they're promoting an upcoming teleseminar that they did, or recently did as of the shooting of this article. They may also do customer spotlights, testimonials, customer recommendations. It just depends on what is most on their minds that particular week. And then, of course, their biographies, and then a disclaimer at the bottom that promotes what PR Takeoff is, and gives a little bit of information about whitelisting and why somebody would be receiving this ezine, how they got on their list, because they've recently consolidated a bunch of lists, and this is a relatively new ezine, so that explanation is there. One thing you're going to see that basically all these ezines have in common except for Jim's. The broadcast version of his has it, but it's removed from here. Same with Marty's. There's a broadcast version, but it's removed from the one that's set online. This one right here, typically this is also removed from the online version as well, but this was just being prepared for broadcast at the time that I shot this video here, so I wanted to show this to you because we're going to use this as the example for the anatomy. It gives me a chance to show you everything that this ezine consists of. So what I want you to do is first of all note the very top of this. When this is broadcast through their shopping cart system, it says to view this edition of the PR Takeoff Jet Set ezine online, click here. And if you click here, it'll go to the current edition. Now watch the screen when I hover over click here. In the lower left-hand corner, you'll see that the URL is prtakeoff.com/ezine/current. And in a second, I'm going to show you what that's all about. But what I want to do presently is show you the anatomy from the design perspective of how this ezine is put together. A professionally designed customer ezine, and all the examples I've shown you have this in common, is there's an HTML version which is designed using a design software such as Macromedia or Adobe Dreamweaver. And you can see this is literally it's a web page where it has all this information set up in an HTML document where it has images and text and formatting. And just a couple quick things I want to tell you about the HTML edition is whenever you set up URLs, always code them, like you see where you set up the link that it hyperlinks to, as an absolute URL. In other words, http:// the whole 9 yards instead of just using the Dreamweaver linking property to find the file on your hard drive, because if you do it that way, then the link won't work when you broadcast it through your shopping cart. Same with images. When you put the images in, you have to make sure that they have the absolute file path to your web server. Like if you look at the header, it's www.prtakeoff.com/ezine/images/ezine header. This is very important because you need people to be able to see the images when they're broadcast through a shopping cart, which needs to find the external website where the images are. And you'll see that this is a common theme throughout this entire document here. At the same time, you take the content from the ezine, you put it in a Word document, which will serve as a plain text version, and you go through and you carriage format it. You see when I turn on the display here, so you can see that each line is broken using a carriage return, like when you hit enter. And the reason being is when you take that and copy paste it into a notepad, or when you broadcast it through the system, it'll make sure that the line spaces are only 60 characters wide, which will make it look professionally formatted. It's very important to do this because otherwise your email will stretch very far and wide and it won't look very professional when it's broadcast to the system. You also need to make sure that when you broadcast your customer ezine, if you're doing an HTML version, that you're miming it, which means you're simultaneously sending a text version, because people whose email viewers are not able to interpret HTML, if there's no text version that their viewer can receive, it'll look like the ezine is either a blank document or it may block it as spam, and then you won't reach those subscribers who are unable to read HTML emails. So it's very important to mime. And one other thing to stress is that when you set up your regular customer ezine, always have a file on your FTP, a folder that ends in current. And what you'll do is within the section of your FTP that is the ezine section, you'll see the current folder, and I'm going to open this up in it's an indexed HTML file, and I can open it in Notepad. It's just a redirect to the place where you have the HTML version of the ezine hosted on your system, the folder that the current edition is in. And that's very important because then the little link at the top of the ezine, like I showed you, will always point to the current edition as long as you change this and upload it before you broadcast the current edition of the ezine. Plus, anytime you have a special report download or a teleseminar sign up, you can put a link in there where it says, to view the most recent edition of this ezine, click here, and then without having to change this each time, or without having to change all those web pages each time, it'll always point to the current edition in HTML format. That way you can easily give away the ezine as a bonus, or when you're saying, surprise, here's your extra special thank you, you get my ezine, you can let them read it right now without having to wait for the next edition, and you don't have to go back and change each time all those links to point to the current edition. It's set up so it happens automatically when you change one file. We look forward to helping you assemble and create best practice content for your customer ezine, so please contact us at livewebsitereviews.com, and we look forward to serving you.